Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. If you were at the last session, I know you're very excited. Certainly, I am. Sandra Thompson from FHFA did a remarkable job of bringing us up to date. So let's begin on our journey to home ownership. Our title, of course, is Building the Journey to Home Ownership. And let me introduce myself. I'm Dina Harris from National Faith Homebuyers in Detroit, and I have the great pleasure of introducing Maria Serravalle and Raquel Reddy. And both of these ladies will probably be introducing themselves along the path. First, we'll start with Maria Serravalle, who will introduce herself and talk about the exciting announcement that Bank of America is going to be introducing.
Thank you so much, Dina, and it's a pleasure to be here with everyone. My name again, Maria Serravalle. I am one of the regional managers here, and my main role is to work with organizations like Black and Latino Economic Summit, National Homeowners Associations to really identify and learn how can we as a bank be able to provide solutions so that homeowners or future homeowners are able to sustain home ownership so overall. So thank you so much for letting me be here.
Okay, well, certainly you are welcome, and we're really tickled to have you. Raquel, I didn't see here where it says you could introduce yourself, so why don't we do that now? You and Marcos.
Great, good afternoon. It's great to be here as well. I'm Raquel Reddy, Managing Director with National Community Stabilization Trust, or NCST, and really excited to have and be a part of this conversation today.
Hello. Yeah. Hi, I'm Marcos Morales, Executive Director of Hispano Inc. And Maria, thank you for joining us. And, this is going to be a fun day, a fun time.
Absolutely. Thank you. So we began this process by having Maria talk about Bank of America's $15 billion community home ownership commitment. Maria?
Thank you so much, Dina. So I'm going to start off with just a brief slideshow. So to give some context and some of the things that I'm going to talk about. So on my end, I have the ability to do the slideshow, but you can always open it up so that you can see some of the details. So what the bank has done, and this has been work for the past few years to really find out when it comes down to clients that are on the fence, am I ready to be a homeowner? Am I not ready? Have I been working on it? What are the main barriers? And of course, looking at everyone here in the panel, I know that I'm preaching to the choir. There's so many people out there that either are mortgage ready, are almost mortgage ready, or have no idea that they actually are. But when we look at some of the barriers to that is, I want to buy a home. I want to have the power to buy a home, but I don't have the down payment. I don't have the closing costs. I don't have that extra reserves to be able to pay for things that come along with purchasing a home, come along with moving overall. So what we did at the bank is that we said, how can we help address those barriers, especially within our low and moderate multicultural community? They're doing everything possible to get mortgage ready. But I used to be a counselor. So I was in this situation when I was working with my clients to say, your budget looks good. You've been working on your credit. You've been working on cleaning up and clearing some things in your credit report. And we have some plans so that you can start saving month to month. But is this saving something that you're able to continue? Things happen. It's called a rainy day. Things happen like that. So how can we explore programs to help? So what the bank did in 2019 is we developed a $5 billion, so just $5 billion community homeownership commitment. And the goal for that $5 billion was to put those clients, those additional 25,000 clients in the position to purchase, not having the barrier of down payment or closing costs, and have that done within 2025. So notice that I said $5 billion. We met that goal really, really fast. And what we did is we didn't want to have that commitment just to be, well, we ran out of money. So we did hold to our facts, and we tripled that commitment earlier in 2021 to $15 billion. So thus far, we have put an additional $30 100,000 people of homes because we have given an additional 280 million just in grants. So we're going to continue that for the next 4 years. And the reason that I emphasize that, because depending on who's our audience right now, whether you're a realtor, you're a developer, you're always going to think of someone, either family, friends, clients, that have that opportunity that may not be ready today, may be ready later on, but we don't want them to feel that, look, there's all this help out there, but it's not a loose out deal. It's not a Black Friday, Cyber Monday type of deal. How can we make sure that you take full advantage of the resources? So I'll start off with what is that exactly that commitment. And by all means, I'm going to have some resources as this is a national conference. I am in Detroit. However, the commitment does go throughout the Bank of America enterprise. So to start off, everywhere that you see a Bank of America financial center, we can call that our footprint. We have America's Home Grant, first bullet point. It offers up to $7,500 in closing cost help. This covers everything but the non-reoccurring. So just think about it as a lender credit. Think about it as a coupon. Think about it as coming up with everything but property taxes and insurance. So if you think about the one-time fees, we can think about the lender costs. We can think about points, buying down points. That credit covers points to reduce the interest rate. All the title fees, recording fees, all those one-time fees, depending on what state you are, you could use this credit to be able to offset those fees. This is available with an FHA loan, available with a VA loan, and available with the conventional loan. What we typically want to see is that this program is an affordable solutions or affordable program that is paired up with one of our products and is based on income limitation or where you're purchasing the property. And I'll show you a tool where you can look at some of those details and specifically where we would qualify that once a client is approved for a mortgage. Now, the second grant that can be paired in 69 of our markets is down payment grant. It offers 3% up to $10,000 off the purchase price, whichever is less. So in some of the areas, like I'm here in Detroit, a client may not use the full amount, but in some areas, let's say we're in California, a little bit more expensive areas for first-time home buyers, they probably will get that maximum up to the $17,500. So we always work with the client to make sure that once they qualify for a mortgage product, let's look and see what else they would qualify. And I will tell you this, the America's Home Grant, the first bullet point, we automated that so that if a client has the particular income limitations already, if they're purchasing in a low or moderate census tract, the system adds this grant as a lender credit automatically. So we take that guessing out for our sales associates or loan officers. Now, the last two bullet points I'll talk about briefly are two of our affordable lending products. 3% conventional products. We have two. In today's market, it is essential to be put in the best position, especially working with our realtors to say, can we work on having a client, of course, if looking to conventional, if that is an option. So 3% Affordable Loan Solutions is a Bank of America proprietary product, no mortgage insurance. The second one is Freddie Mac Home Possible. I'm sure you're very familiar with another 3% down product, and it has limited mortgage insurance. So what we do is we stack them and we look and see what is the best option for the client. Affordable Loan Solutions, no mortgage insurance, a little bit higher interest rate, or Home Possible, limited mortgage insurance, more competitive rates. Because of America's Home Grant, a lot of the times, even if we do go with the no mortgage insurance product, and if there is a little bit of a higher interest rate, a lot of our loan officers say that's fine because we have that credit. We can always buy that rate down and put clients in that best position. So just a brief overview. I'll go over a little bit of the details from the Affordable Loan Solutions and our other products too. So if you think about it, a lot of our time, our clients may say, we feel that we may have minimal or no credit profile or a thin credit profile. And that could be okay. We don't want them to feel that they need 3, 4, 5 years of experience with working with credit cards, loans, etc. What we allow for our Affordable Loan Solutions product is that non-traditional credit, which means that we look at things such as rental payments, utility payments. We do a different scope of viewing how their responsibilities have been paying their debt outside of just the traditional credit report view of credit cards and loans and so forth. So with Affordable Loan Solution, that does give us that opportunity to help other clients that may not feel that they have that strong traditional credit. One thing that I also want to emphasize is that these are Bank of America products. However, we do pair up with over 1,300 different programs within the United States. So overall, what we have, and I'll mention, for example, Dina, you have been very gracious to give us information about the down payment products that you have within Wayne County here in Michigan. We did submit that over, and we're able to layer those solutions. Now, the last bullet point that I'll briefly talk about is what Connect to Own is. We have clients from all areas overall, different paths of life, and above all, we want to make sure that we have partners that we are entrusting. One, to make sure that if clients are not mortgage ready, that they have a trusted, non-biased third party that they can work with. So that's where our Connect to Own program comes in. We want to make sure that if they're not mortgage ready, we can introduce them to the counselors that will help them with that. So above all, the main goal is to maximize and layer solutions. So what we look at is, can we work in getting clients into homes with down payment, closing costs, affordable product, and explore those options to put them in the best position possible. What we have overall, and this is something that you can look a little bit later, but the tool that we have is just bankofamerica.com/down payment center. We do have a drop down, so whether you are from Michigan, Florida, wherever you're joining us from, you're able to look and see what some of the programs that we do have. Now, if you say, hey, Maria, there's actually a new program or a different program in my area, I would love to know if Bank of America will use it with their grants or other programs. We do have a team that specifically does this day to day. They review third-party programs. They review the guidelines. They make sure they agree with our investor guidelines. And if that's the case, it opens up opportunities for so many people to be able to say, wow, now we have another third-party program that we could layer overall. Okay, so this is a little bit different, and this particularly came from a lot of the feedback from a lot of our partners overall. So when we're working with clients, I have business professionals here. This is our lingo. We talk about this day to day, but sometimes it sounds like a different language for our clients. Like, wait a minute, what is DTI? Wait, what is the front end, the back end, the ratios? Oh, just sounds so confusing. So they have to have different messaging so that they can start seeing this and being more confident when preparing. So overall, what we did is we developed a first-time homebuyer online education series. By all means, this is something that Bank of America allows it and provides them a certificate of completion at the end, but it does not replace homebuyer education. So I want to make that clear. It does not replace it. It is a series of 5 different videos. They have more of a fireside type of chat from the professionals to say, this is from the beginning, what to anticipate, middle, and all the way down to closing. So it gives them that additional message so that from someone that is currently purchasing a home, they could say, wait a minute, this sounds very familiar now. I heard that from my loan officer, heard that from my realtor, from my counselor. It's starting to come together. So the Edu-Series is a really good tool that we have so the clients know that we're providing also additional information and that they feel confident throughout the process. Okay, so with our real estate center, I know that I mentioned earlier having the grants, having them in different areas, and so forth. But what we have developed is that Bank of America wants to make sure that we make it easier for clients to identify not only where the loans are, the grants are, but as well as how to identify what the income limitations would be. And the reason that we do that is we want to make sure that the grants are available to the clients that are intended to use them the best. So if I am an investor, this is my third property, this is not the grants are not for you. The grants are typically for someone that you don't have to be a first-time home buyer, but it does have to be your primary residence. So what we have in a real estate center, it's a tool that we have the listings from the NMLS. They're fresh listings. And if you notice in the middle of the page, there is like a price tag item. When you go and search for your properties, you're able to search based on the area that you're looking for, the county, the state, the specific neighborhood. But when you're looking through the pictures and you're looking through all the details from the property, you may notice one or two price tags. And there is notations within the real estate center. What does that mean? One price tag means that the property is in the area where we typically have America's Home Grant. And if you hover over that price tag, it tells you what the income limitations are. The second price tag, so if you see two, it typically means that that property is in an area where we have America's Home Grant and our down payment, so up to $17,500, and also what the income limitations would be. And the reason that we have this, and I have two really good scenarios. I did this event yesterday with one of our partners in the Philadelphia area. I told them we're going to have two clients or two scenarios. First client, they are qualified for $150,000. They're making $53,000 a year. And this client is eligible for both grants in that area, just for that example. They're able to purchase here, there, and if they like it, they can say, Bank of America, I want to look and see if I can get qualified. I feel that based on this tool, I am eligible for the grant. So we review them, get them going. But what about having the situation where we may have a spouse and partner? We have two people going in for the mortgage, and that happens. Both of them make $30,000 a year. So if you think about it combined, we're looking at $60,000. Those two people going to the mortgage also could qualify for that $150,000 mortgage. And if that's the case, in Philadelphia, in that particular area that I was looking at, the limitation is $54,000. So if we think about it, in scenario A, that client was able to be reviewed for the grants, but in scenario B, same house, same purchase price, not the case. So what we did is in the tool, there are some areas where we go up to 120% area median income. So that in the scenario 2, where we may have two people being a little bit more than 80% area median income, that they also have the ability to qualify for the grants and have the visibility based on this tool. So it's actually really neat for all of them to view for our professionals out there, because sometimes some clients that may not benefit from the traditional grant requirements for third parties may have a chance based on the properties that they choose to purchase. And the last thing that I have for this commitment is I wanted to talk a little bit more about Connect to Own. So earlier I mentioned that we need trusted partners that are HUD-approved agencies that can help our clients that are not mortgage ready really have that page and what to do, that customized action plan. But then also clients that are mortgage ready, and if we are qualifying them for an affordable lending product, Home Possible, down payment grant, affordable loan solutions, or even other third-party down payment grants, there is that requirement for home buyer education. What a nice idea to say we also want to work with our partner. Even if they got mortgage ready on their own, we want to make sure that they know the availability and being able to speak with a counselor, because purchasing the home is one of the biggest steps, but it's not the last step. We want to make sure that affordable home ownership is in the books for them. So Dina, that's what I have about the $15 billion commitment. Really brief. Thank you.
We always have to remember to turn that mute button on, don't we? Thank you, Maria. That was really great information. It helps that both of us are in Detroit, and so that we've had a really, really great relationship. I need the audience to know that Bank of America has been consistently closing with our buyers. Okay, and that you have participated in our education system. So I really wanted to very briefly, and I put together slides. National Faith Homebuyers is a nonprofit HUD counseling agency that has a partnership with Bank of America. We have offices in Detroit and in Georgia, in Michigan and in Georgia. And so I wanted you all to understand that we really, really want to and encourage you to use a third-party counseling agency that sort of has a marriage with the bank, but is completely independent and working on your behalf. So, of course, all the information you see on our slide is on our website. So, and I wanted to also help you understand that even though I'm presenting from Michigan and Georgia, that what we do, most counseling agents, HUD counseling agencies do all over the country. And if you're interested in finding a counseling agency in your community, all you have to do is go to Google, type in HUD counseling agencies, and a whole map all across the country will pop up. And so very briefly, the home buyers program that we offer, has a very simple process. We provide education, we provide counseling. I think we're unique in the fact that we provide down payment assistance in our county, and we have a partnership with the county government. So for those of you that are nonprofits in other areas, it does not hurt to reach out to your local government and say, hey, I'd like you to consider me administering a down payment program in behalf of the government. We've been managing the down payment program for the county since 2003. Okay, so that's a long time. And yes, you can match our county's money with Maria's money. So that makes it really nice, right? And so I very briefly wanted to explain the program and how it should look in most communities. But we encourage you in our arena to go to our education. Right now, we're providing classes for you on the internet. They're virtual. There's no cost. Some agencies charge, some don't, so you can find out who does and who doesn't. But during our class, we actually, we provide different lenders. Bank of America is one of our presenters. We rotate our partners so it doesn't get boring for them either. And they take each subject. Are you ready to buy a home? Understanding your credit, how to budget your money, how to pick a real estate agent, how to pick a lender, what's a title company. So these are the things that are important for you to understand. And once you've completed that class, then we will take an application from you. We will also work with our partners. We now know their products, so we actually know how to help you get approved at the lender of your choice. We don't choose for you. That's very important. We actually help you to understand what products the lenders have so you can make better choices. Okay. After we've worked with you to get your credit on point, we've worked with you to make sure that you are not set up for failure by applying for a mortgage when you're not ready. Okay. So that's really important. And so our entire program walks you through the entire process. Even I think our application looks like a mortgage application. That's deliberate so that we can get you understanding what the lender is going to ask. Recently, we introduced a workshop from the underwriter. So you can actually understand what the underwriter is, what they do, and that your lender isn't necessarily the final decision maker, and they're really your representative. So we created all that so you have a better understanding. The other thing is, because I have a really short attention span, we introduced a scavenger hunt to our workshop so that we all have a little bit of fun, and we give out a little bit of money, because we all know that this COVID virus saved us money in a sense, because we don't have public meetings right now. So I just thought we'd give something back by doing 3 or 4 scavenger hunts during the class. Lots of fun. We asked for simple stuff like finding a black cast iron skillet, and people could very quickly come back with a photograph of that, and we send out $20 if they are the person that gets the picture to us first. So lots of fun. I think workshops should be educational, but stress relievers. Buying a house is a stressful process. I want to be very clear of that. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you work at the bank. It's a stressful process. So I want to be very, very clear of that. And I think my last slide just talks about how the down payment program works in Michigan. In Georgia, we are partnered to the Georgia Dream Down Payment Program. So there are programs all over the place. I love that Bank of America has come out with a down payment program that will also be able to help with the mortgage. We all know how important those programs are if you have a very tight income, okay, and you're living from income to income, or you're living on a very fixed income. So these down payment programs are meant to work out for you. Please visit our site, and you will be able to see other workshops and other information. And we're going to be introducing some new classes in the beginning of the year. But I encourage you, find that down payment, that counseling program in your community. Okay, I think that's my presentation, Raquel. I don't know if I've run over my timeline. I'm 2 minutes over. I'm turning it over to you, Raquel.
That sounds great. And thank you so much to both of you, Maria and Dina, for your presentations and just the conversation. I think it's, always important to share information. We just came off of another session where we talked about, just getting the word out about this. So as we get into a little bit of the Q&A, Maria, this is a question, for you. And I think you mentioned a little bit of this, and just wanted to kind of come back to this and ask you to talk a little bit more about the non-traditional credit types. That's become so important through the underwriting process as you find out that you're eligible for the grants. It's also kind of looking at the credit history of the borrower. And so if you could share what's been very successful from a non-traditional credit perspective, that'd be helpful.
Raquel, if I could interrupt for a second, I do want to tell our audience that there is another workshop coming at 1:30, and it's Al Pena is going to be on site working on one of the houses that he's actually renovating to teach us how to renovate a house. So I don't want people to go away after this, and I don't want people to drop off. So I'm sorry for that interruption. Go on, Maria.
No worries.
I think it's Maria.
Yeah, it's Maria. Yeah. I'm not sure if she's
Maria, can you hear us?
Maria there? Well, I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that, Dina, if you're hearing me okay. Just, on the non-traditional credit underwriting, I think Maria had mentioned, the 12-month of rental history that they're using. And I'm sure there are, other things that have now come into play.
Absolutely. Of course, you can use your insurance payments, things that tip your utility payments. They're now looking at your rental. Well, they look at rental anyway. So it looks like Maria might be back. No, afraid not. Oh, I'm so sorry. I said, I'm so used to these technology issues, so we just keep moving. But there are tons of ways that things that you pay that wouldn't be on your credit report are considered non-traditional credit items. And you can go get proof that you made those payments and submit that to your lender. Yeah. So that's non-traditional.
Thank you, Dina. And this is bringing up a little bit of my history when I was a lender at a bank here in Florida. And when we talk about thin files, it used to, you can't see my hand. Well, they used to be thick files because you were documenting so much that is now called that non-traditional. So
yes,
always good to hear that we're heading back into that direction. So I know that some of the other questions that are coming up. I don't know, Marcos. We're sort of waiting for Maria to come back. But I didn't know if you were trying to say something.
Yeah, it looks like they maybe.
Am I frozen too? Can you guys hear me?
You're fine.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was going to say, I'm going to go back 100 years when I was a HUD certified housing counselor. We were fighting and fighting and fighting for non-traditional credit, right? Utility bills, car payments, all of the other things that, sometimes aren't considered, credit for underwriting for a mortgage. And we couldn't get it done, but now I'm glad to hear that it's happening and Bank of America accepts it. And it would be nice maybe when Maria is able to get back online or later in the future, send a list of some of the non-traditional credit items that people could take into consideration.
She's
And,
back, Marcos.
I'm sorry?
She's back. She called in.
Oh, Maria, are you there? Nope.
Yes,
Oh.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much. So, talk about technology, technical issues. I'm glad that I'm back on. So, what we have, and I know it's in the handout. So, a couple things that you mentioned. In the handouts, I do have the list of our production managers. So, by all means, I manage the East Coast when it comes to working with our nonprofits within affordable housing through our Connect to Rome partners. I do have a counterpart in the West Coast, and in the handouts, you're going to notice Toledo Woods. But when we look at our production managers that work day to day with our sales team to help them understand products, programs, etc., then at that time, you may want to have someone that works within the state. And that's where I have them: Cheryl Davis, Elia Reyes, Joe Velasquez, Julie Franco, Paul Kiefer, Ricardo Hall, Rosanna Jalmi. They're all in that handout. So if someone says, hey, I'm interested to learn more about the specifics, like you said, Marcos, within, the programs and products and things such as that non-traditional credit, they'll be able to give you a little bit more in details or specifics.
Thank you. And I want to kind of now move from that to, to some degree, the lack of affordable vacant homes for purchase, right? There's so many of them out there. And so let's say today I got approved for a loan, and 6 months later, I still haven't been able to find a home. How long is my loan approval good for?
Good question, Marco. So this is something to really think about. And this is like Dina said, when you're mortgage ready, when you're preparing, have that timeline, because our pre-approval letters are good for 90 days. So if someone says, hey, my lease is not up until 9 months from now, they may be eager to start shopping and looking at properties and getting pre-approved. But if you're not ready to purchase within, let's say, those 3 months, because your lease is up to 6 months after that, it may not be the best time to actually approve, because remember, when you're getting pre-approved, it is a review of your credit. It is a hard hit on your score. So overall, you want to do it as close as possible. So I think ideally, sometimes we will want to say, hey, maybe within 1 to 5 months. There is a chance that you may need to do another pre-approval, but at least you're in that time frame, because finding property within the first 2 months, it may take about a month, 45 days to close. Will you be ready to move out? Now, if you're in a situation where you're not tied down to a lease, where you have other things going on, then you may be okay within that 90-day pre-approval. But just work with your counselor, work with your realtor to find that special timing.
Great. Thank you for that, Maria. And I'm going to work off of that last question, really, considering the subsidies that you mentioned outside of the down payment grant and America's Home Grant, that Bank of America is also working with over 1,300 different subsidy programs as well. And so I wanted to, again, along those same lines, do you find that, Bank of America has been able to, one, provide blanket approvals of different subsidy programs across the areas that are mentioned here, or do you find that, just like the bank, those programs also kind of have a run out of time, so to speak, on their approvals as well? I'm just trying to have a conversation on how complementary the timelines are between your underwriting and the subsidy programs that you might be including.
Great question, Raquel. So go ahead.
That was it.
That's it. So overall, we have 1,300 post programs, and we got to think about it. It varies from area to area. Now, our down payment program, our closing cost program is not an additional approval, is not an additional timeline. It is working hand in hand with the traditional conditional approvals and overall that's needed. So we don't add additional time to look at our program. However, we do work with third parties. So if I mention, and if I have anyone here in New York, I did see Steffi from Florida, and I do see Brad from Maryland, and thank you for being Connect to Home partners as well. But if, let's say, we're looking in New York, we do work with a lot of New York programs, and this is something that is normal for that area, that their third-party programs, their DAP, their employer assistance program, their mortgage certification, or maybe other subsidies do take 45 days plus, sometimes around the 60 days. So what we do is we look at all the guidelines from our current guidelines, the down payment guidelines, or other subsidy programs to try to make it fit, and it varies from area to area. So I wouldn't be able to specifically say in distinction to how much it would be or overall, but we just try to work with all of them based on the different timelines based on the county. And what I can suggest, going back to the Down Payment Center, bankofamerica.com/down payment center is going to give you an idea of some of the programs. I think there was a question to mention, is it a county, is it a city, is it a state? Some are county programs, some are city programs, some are state programs, so it does vary. But what we normally look at is, does the guidelines within that program also match our investor guidelines? And if so, how can we layer the solutions?
Excellent. I think Marcos has another question, but you're on mute.
Dina, you were just talking about that, Dina. I keep forgetting to turn the mute off. So anyway, the buyers have to income qualify, right? And credit qualify. What about the homes themselves? Do they have any criteria that Bank of America requires to qualify the home itself?
So we go through the normal.
What about the homes themselves? Do they have any criteria that?
So we go through the normal qualifications, Marcos. So the normal qualification would be just of what the standard would be for an FHA, the standard qualifications for a conventional loan, as well as what the contract implications would be. So the grant itself did not require any additional items for the property. The only thing that the grants do is they look at either the client's income based on the limitations, as well as if the property is in a low and moderate census tract, then they also qualify for grants based on where we have the grant availability. So no additional, the house must be in this condition, or we always work more with what the city, I think the city would be, city and then FHA requirements would probably be more on, this is what would be required for a mortgage under those programs.
Great, and I've got the one of the last questions here to ask you, Maria, as well. And as we talk about that single family inventory, there's a little bit of feedback. As you talk about that single family inventory, what are the property types that are eligible under the programs that we've talked about today within single family? So. What are the property types that?
Let's see, I'm going in and out. Can you hear me, Raquel?
I can hear you.
We can hear you, Maria, and you're getting a echo, so don't be concerned about that.
Okay. Let me change it up again. Okay. So the property type that we look at is for affordable loan solutions in Home Possible. They allow the down payment and closing cost assistance up to 2 units. And we also allow co-ops in areas such as New York. That's an acceptable property type. For conventional FHA, we can go up to 4 units, but we only allow America's Home Grant. So for clients out there that are looking also to be a landlord, they want to look at the opportunity to have a multi-unit, we can go up to 2 units for both grants, up to 4 with America's Home Grant for conventional and FHA.
Great. That's very helpful. That's very helpful. Oh my goodness, we're hearing ourselves twice. Well, with that, again, we're just so excited about the opportunities that are presented here. And Dina, I think if there are no other questions, I don't see any other questions in the queue, or those that Marcos and I might have, then we'll kick it over to you to provide some closing remarks.
First of all, thank you. I hope I'm not echoing. Marcos, you're on mute, just so you know, ahead of time. Maria, thank you so much for taking the time out to give us this information. Thank you. I was going through as well to see if there were any questions out there. I think we're kind of safe. Maria, there were some audiences that were trying to find the program, like in North Carolina, they were told that it wasn't there. So you might want to check the questions that we received and pass them on to someone else. They clearly identified the area that they were concerned about. So just so you know that. Secondly, I again remind you that there is a workshop coming back at 1:30. Al Pena himself is going to be presenting a rehabilitation program on how to get that house developed for those aspiring developers. So I encourage you to stay tuned. Certainly, I'm going to come back and hear it, because I know that that's how my nonprofit is going to make money. That's how Marcos's nonprofit makes money. We develop houses and we use that income to pay for our nonprofit. So we're going to get a 10-minute break. I encourage you, please come back. Al's put in a lot of time and energy, and I believe he's doing it live on the site. So we certainly want to be able to hear that. Maria, thank you again. Looks like you might be back. Hard to tell.
Thank you, Dina.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Raquel, Marcos, did you want to say anything before we sign off?
Nope, I'm good. Thank you very much. Very informative.
Oh, thanks a lot, Marcos. Oh, no. No, you guys have been so much fun. Did I hear Maria say something?
I think
I
so.
was just going to say thank you, Dina. Thank you, Marcos. Thank you, Raquel, for the call today and having me here.
Oh, excellent, excellent. And Maria, I'm certainly going to thank you later for talking me into doing this workshop. I hope that didn't sound like a threat. Hint, hint. But you guys have been great. This has been a great, great workshop. We're winding our way down to our last week. I mean, we've got one more day, the 7th, and Al's workshop today, and we would have made it through about 5 weeks of sessions, and I've certainly enjoyed it. I've certainly enjoyed the time. I see a question. Al's workshop, I do believe, begins at 1:30. I hope that's correct, Quintana. Hopefully you'll correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, but I certainly want people to be able to get back for that one. So I thank you again. I'm not going to prolong this. God bless everyone, and I hope to see you soon. Next workshop is at
1:30.
1:30. Okay. Thank you. All right, everybody, we're signing off. Quintana, take us home.
Have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.